As the shows of the fall 2021 anime season start to get their legs and we start to get an idea of what are the best picks of the season so far, it's time to really give a rundown on exactly what shows are panning out and you should be excited for. And if you're not checking out quite yet, you should really jump into at this point. But this is my top picks of the fall 2021 anime season so far, so let's jump into it. Kicking off my list in no particular order, we start off with 86, Part 2. This is a series that had a fantastic first part, and I honestly was kind of curious how it panned out as it went forward. As the first core of this series really had me wondering where exactly can they take this story, and I'm happy to say at this point as we get into the second part, I'm really excited where this is going, the direction it's taking, and the impactful storytelling that it has had so far. For those unfamiliar with the series, it essentially takes place in Sag Magnolia. This empire essentially has divided all the people up into 86 districts, 85 having the people of the Alba, and everybody that's not Alba in the 86 district. And sadly for this world, it seems like everybody in the 86 district are forced to fight a war for the people of the 85. And the people within the 85 go about their day with news reports saying that the war is being fought for them by unmanned drones. But in fact, as we see, it's the people of the 86. And like I said, the first core ended with a really impactful episode that really had me wondering where it was going, and I'm really happy in the direction it's taking. For my second show that I have is another sequel series, and that is Yukiyun as a Hero, the Great Mankai chapter. Now, I'll put a big hesitation on this suggestion just because, yes, it's a long-running series. We're now on the third season of it. And yes, the first part of this particular season wasn't my favorite. But I have to say, getting into the second segment, the second story that they have in this season, I'm really fascinated by it. So I think if you're a fan of Yukiyun as a Hero, or if you're a fan of the more darker Magical Girl series, the ones that aren't really fluffy and happy and bubbly, it's definitely a series you should check out. Get caught up on the series. It's fantastic. I love the characters to death. And the story and the world itself have always been fascinating to me. It essentially takes place in a city that is protected by this divine tree. And this divine tree selects girls to protect it from the outside world, which, as we find out over time, is not very pretty. There's a cost to everything. And that cost and how the characters deal with that cost is kind of a significant portion of the drama and the developments that the characters go through. And for my next series, I have, yes, another sequel series. I'm sorry, this is the last one. But yes, of course, Mushoku Tensei Jobless Reincarnation. This second part is fantastic. It is continuing the great pedigree that this series has gotten so far. The attention to detail, the love and the passion of the studio having towards this series is just easily noticeable. The visuals are beautiful, the music's beautiful, the storytelling is immersive. It is a fantastic series. It is not the sum of an isekai, it is the premier isekai. This is easily my number one favorite isekai of all time. If you don't watch any other isekai, you have to watch this one. And in case you're living under a rock and you don't know what this series is, it essentially follows a guy. He is a shut-in that is a deadbeat, and at one point he gets kicked out of his home and ends up getting hit by a truck. And then he's transported to another world where he's giving another chance, another life, where he's born in a fantasy setting. And what sets this apart from a lot of isekais is that it's got so much character development. As you see that he's got this new life, this new chance that really pushes him and changes him to the point where you see his development over time as a character. The characters are fantastic, the world's fantastic, all the building, the animation, everything is phenomenal, and it is definitely a top tier 10 out of 10 anime that I suggest everybody check out. Finally, getting into two series that are not sequels. First one I have is Ranking of Kings. If you have not heard yet, this series is a 10 out of 10 so far. It's phenomenal. I cannot express enough how every single one of these episodes is filled with emotions, filled with characters that take so many turns that surprise you on a regular basis. Which studio that's working on it is doing a phenomenal job. It very much gives a feeling of like a storybook with its visual design. It follows a prince named Boji, and this prince is unfortunately deaf, and he's not able to hear people or speak very well. And unfortunately, this prince is often mocked and laughed at as pretty much this failure of a king. He'll never be a king because of the failures of his own physical capabilities. And despite this, it seems like he keeps himself in a positive nature, although we end up seeing him in more vulnerable scenes. He eventually gets wrapped up in what they call the Ranking of Kings system, which is every king of this particular world is ranked based on strength and many other aspects. And because of those in the royal family and surrounding don't really have much trust in him becoming a king, there's something in play in the backgrounds that eventually forces him to have to leave the kingdom and leave the crown to his brother. It's a fantastic series. It looks great. Boji, I just every week root for him. I want him to succeed, but Unfortunately, it's a rough world, and I am looking forward to every single week of it. And for my last one I have is Mirokochan. Mirokochan is an absolute surprise to me. This is a series that had a PV about a horror anime that had a goofy tinge to it, some sort of comedic tinge to it, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like it, but as I got onto it, it's phenomenal. The way that they portray horror is fantastic. Yes, it has ecchi in there. It's got comedic beats in there, but also dramatic beats as well. A lot of drama, heart-wrenching moments that I really was not expecting. The way that they're able to really balance all of these different types of style of storytelling is very surprising to me. I never feel like the horror is ruined by the comedy. I never feel like the comedy ruins the drama. Everything is so perfectly balanced, and they're doing such a fantastic job of putting it together. It's easily turning out to be my biggest surprise, my biggest hit of this season, besides Ranking of Kings, obviously. And that's it. That's my 5 best series of the fall 2021 anime season. For my honorable mentions, I'll definitely say Hike's story is still fantastic. I think it's a very difficult series to follow, and I do feel like it's got a lulling point right now, but I'm excited for it, and I'm hoping that it'll turn things around in the coming episodes. It's just absolutely a beautiful series. My Senpai Annoying is fantastic as well. Very cute, very fun, very funny series that I'm looking forward to every episode of. The Faraway Paladin has definitely had a fantastic opening, but I'm a little bit leery on it just because I'm wondering where this is going to go from here. The World's Finest Assassin is turning out fantastic as well. It's another isekai series. It's not, of course, going to be as good as something like Jobless Reincarnation, but I think so far what it's doing is really good. And finally, Blue Period. Now, this series is definitely a shock for me. It's a slice of life series that I'm absolutely invested in, but I will admit that it's gotten to a lulling point, and I'm not sure exactly if it's going to turn out fantastic going forward, but so far, I really do like what I have. But again, that's it. Let me know what your favorite 5 anime of this season is so far. Definitely love hearing from you guys. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below. Comment, again, let me know what your favorites are. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. Support us on Patreon if you can. We definitely appreciate everybody that does. The links are in the description. And y'all take care.